Hi and welcome to this episode of Junk Journal with me. For today's episode, I'm going to be doing a mixed media spread in Allison's beautiful journal because I see from your comments and also from the journal consultations I've been having via Skype with some of you that a lot of you are struggling with collaging, and I've also received some requests about doing more mixed media. So I'm trying to listen to my viewers and to do what might help and inspire you. So I was just showing you what I'm starting off with is a selection of fairly neutral, mostly vintage, pretty much all vintage papers that I'm using as a base for my mixed media collage. And as you can see, they all have similar coloring, and I'm starting on the outside of two opposite corners and then working my way in, and you can maybe see that I'm kind of copying what I'm doing on one side, I will do on the other side. And this is just the way I like to do it. And I also always like to tear like rectangles and squares, and I don't like having weird shapes. I don't know why that is, but that is what is pleasing to me. And so I'm just filling up this whole page by gluing down different scraps, and I think I pretty much have two of every scrap. And yeah, I'm almost done filling that up. So you can see there's old book pages, there's music sheet, there's old ledger pages. This is another like empty music sheet paper. So I think that's an awesome base for any collage, mixed media or not. And now I wanted to add some more background interest, and I found this beautiful napkin locally here in Vienna, and I'm just taking off two of the three sheets by using my regular tape and just pulling on it to get those layers off. So now I have my front layer, and I'm going to select the portion of the napkin that I want to have on my collage. And by listening to my fabulous viewers, I have learned this technique of using a brush with water and just going along the design of where I want to tear and then just tearing it. And I just love this so much. I can't believe how many times I've done it without knowing about this technique. So give it a try. If you've never tried this, this is like a life changer. It just makes it so easy to tear the napkin in the right place. And you never want to cut your napkin for collages like this, because you want a rough edge that will blend into the background. You don't want to see any lines of where you might have cut. So I'm just also adhering that with my glue stick, just like I did the other papers underneath, and I'm very gently just brushing over the napkin from one side to the other until it's all adhered, and make sure that there's no bubbles in the middle. And I also wanted to pick a portion for the right side to balance it a little bit. And I'm gonna take two of those smaller, I don't know what you call them, those two thingies you'll see. And again, just quickly going around, and then it's so easy to tear in that spot. Most of this you're actually not really gonna see well in the end, because this is just background, and I'm going to be adding some things on top and also some gesso, so it's really just a hint of color basically in the background. So I think, because I have the feeling a lot of you are having troubles with the colors of your collages, and that you don't feel that it doesn't look cohesive. So if you stick to, this is some white gesso that I use from Golden. I have it linked below in case you're interested. But if you don't have gesso, you can also use white acrylic paint. Maybe you just should thin it down a little bit with water because you don't want it completely covering your page. And what I'm doing here is I'm putting it in places where two papers are connecting, because I'm trying to blend in the edges of the paper. And this white will lighten up a little bit. Now I'm just drying it with my heat gun for a little bit, because I realized I didn't dry where I put the napkins, and so if I would have rubbed over the napkin when it wasn't dry yet, then it probably would have torn the napkin. So you should make sure it's all dry before you do this gesso step. And yeah, what I was saying, a lot of you seem to have problems with the colors in your collages. So I usually don't add a lot of different bold colors, because to me that does not look cohesive. So what I usually do to kind of play it safe is I stick to a couple of colors. So in this case, I have a lot of green in the background, although it's very muted. And I will add another color on top for my focal points. So now, once everything is dry, I'm going to add this distress ink. I've actually never done this before, but I thought I'd try it because the white was just too white. And so I thought I would just go over it with this vintage lace distress ink. I will link that down below as well. I think on Amazon they have like a set of 3 or 4 different of those small distress inks. And now I'm going over the edges with my vintage photo, just to give it a more grungy look. And I must say I'm loving this page already. I love the grunginess of it. I don't know if that's your style, but I like it. So now I thought as a focal point I would choose this beautiful yellow flower that came in Cassie's Happy Mail, and I wanted to balance that on the other side with some more yellow. So I'm looking through my box of medium ephemera, and I'm also choosing pieces like this green one that would also serve as a background for my focal element, so that it would come out a little bit more. And so now what I'm looking for is some more yellow pieces, and also some more pieces I can put in the background of those focal pieces. So more neutral toned pieces that I have, and I'm also still looking for that second yellow focal point. And here I'm just picking out some more pieces that I think might work together. And then I thought I would take some of my pre-cut floral images that I had cut out from some vintage floral books. So here I'm choosing some yellow ones that I think might work, and I'm happy to choose an image that is smaller, because I think if I have 2 of these very big floral images, it's going to be too overpowering. So first I'm tearing away the edges of this floral image down to a size that I think I would like on this page, because I didn't want it to be too big. So I tore off a lot of those leaves. I'm tearing down that stem a little more, and I think that is okay. And now to balance that, I was gonna pick one of those other yellow flowers. Yeah, and as I said, on the background I wanted to use this green one. I think that makes the yellow flower pop. And here I'm just auditioning some of these, and I decided to go with this one because I think the yellow is closest to the yellow on the other side, and I did want to put some more interest on the background. So I'm adding a few more elements there to put that flower on. So the tag is just a die cut that I used on a Japanese book, and the other one you see there is just a scrap which I stamped one of my stamps on. And I also like this dragonfly sticker, which I'm going to tear down as well. That came from the Your Creative Studio box from June. It's a subscription box. And so I just inked the flower on the right, and I'm also looking for some more interest on that page. So I found this stamped vellum. I'm not actually sure where I got this one from. Might be from a Happy Mail. But I did not like the darker part on the bottom of that because it was gonna cover too much of my green napkin in the background, which I didn't want. So I'm just trying different positions of that so that it would have interest but it wouldn't cover too much. So I'm just playing around a little bit with that. And I also wanted to mention, if you are looking for some more collage inspiration, please check out Corey's Instagram page. I will link it below. Her Instagram name is Crafty Coco, and she has amazing collages. I really love all the collages she does. She has fantastic photos of them there, so please go check her out if you need some more inspiration of what kind of collages you can make in your junk journal. So now I'm also inking that other flower and just gonna glue that on top. And when you have some delicate pieces, it's always easier to put glue on the part where you're gonna actually glue it instead of putting glue on the piece you're gluing. So now I wanted to use this dragonfly sticker, but since it was a sticker, it was kind of more challenging to tear down because I couldn't tear it with the acetate on the back. So I had to tear it once I had taken that off, and since it was sticky and it wasn't tearing very well, I was really struggling with that, and I cut a lot of that struggling out because it's boring to watch. But eventually I did kind of get it to where I wanted it to be. I wanted to get rid of all those straight edges, and then I just put that there, and I still saw some of those edges showing, which I didn't like, so I again just added some gesso on the edges of that, and I will also go over it again with some of that vintage lace distress ink. You could of course also use any water soluble media you have instead of distress ink, like maybe watercolor pencils or crayons, or even watercolor would work. So now I wanted to add a sentiment, and I'm going through my pre-cut out sentiments or book or phrases from one of the children's books, which I was inspired doing by a video by Natasha from Treasured Books. I will link that video again below. And I chose this one that says on this, wait, what does it say? I can't read. Yeah. Oh, one fine summer day. And I just kind of framed it with my black ink. And I also wanted a background for that, for it to stand out more. And I'm using this amazing paper tape that I ordered from Etsy from a store called Pipitsaka Store. I will link that obviously down below, and I love it so much. So I just cut it down to the right size, and now I'm gonna just attach that to the page. And then I journaled, because this phrase inspired me to journal about one particular summer day. So I'm gonna read you what I wrote. One fine summer day, we were in one of my most favorite places ever. We took a canoe trip at Victoria Island, British Columbia in the morning. In front of us was salmon jumping and seals swimming with us. On the shore was a black bear with her cub, and above us an eagle was soaring. This is what paradise must be like. It was the most magical experience which I will cherish forever. So that's today's spread. I hope this gave you some inspiration to try your own mixed media or collaging or both. And I hope to see you back next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!